I forgot to hit the go live button. That usually helps when you go on a live stream when you hit the button that says go live. Oh, it's training camp time. How many days till training camp? Training camp's going to be very soon. We're going to be sitting there waiting to see what's going to go on, what's going to happen. We got Big Blue Forever already in there. Ladies and gentlemen. Oh, I don't know what's going on there. We got Big Blue Forever already in the room saying, Tama! We got Emmanuel already dropping in. What is Emmanuel already saying? Good morning, man. What you doing, my friend? What's going on? He says, it seems like we're going to go on the running back by committee. It is not this year, the next year. We got Mark Stewart also dropping in the room saying, good morning, Tim. Everyone's got to be excited about training camp. Training camp is just around the corner this week. I think I'm going to be there on Thursday and definitely on Sunday. I'm going to be at training camp as well. So if you're at training camp, make sure you stop on and say hi. What's up, JR Jr.? What's going on, my friend? He says, what's going on, Tim? We got Chris also in the chat dropping and saying, what's up, everyone? Good morning, Tim. We got a lot of stuff to talk about today a little bit. You have the whole Saquon Barkley situation. I want to talk about some training camp. We're going to say some what are we going to call it? We're going to say we want to talk about some training camp battles that are potentially going to be going on. We're going to talk about some things that, potentially the Giants are going to be doing for training camp and some of the peoples that we need to look at, see if they're going to even make the roster, make the famous rooster, because that's something, we need to talk about. But we also need to just talk about what are going to be some of the big battles in training camp. We already know the running back situation is going to be a battle. We already know that the wide receiver room is extremely crowded right now. And I find it interesting that we went out and got Cole Beasley. The Cole Beasley pickup would have been a good pickup. Would have been a good pickup 4 years ago. And I know a lot of people are saying, we got Cole Beasley. But let's just meander over and see exactly who's in the wide receiver room right now. We have a plethora of wide receivers at the moment. These are the people that are in the wide. These are the people that are sitting in the wide receiver room as we speak. As we speak, these are the wide receivers we have. Now, Darius Slayton, of course, is going to be a list. I don't know if Sterling Shepard might start out the season on the pup. You got Isaiah, you got Jalen. I think Wan'Dale's probably not going to come back until maybe towards more October, November. Got Paris Campbell. People always forget about Jamison Crowder. People forget about the dangerous David Sills, Colin Johnson. You got Mickens. You got Smith. People forget about Smith as well. You got Rice Ford Wheaton, who's going to be the next David Sills 2.0. You got Blimpton. You got, and then you got Polk, and then you got Beasley. The room is full. I mean, the Cole Beasley move to me is only interesting from the fact that tells me that probably Sterling Shepard and Wan'Dale Robinson are going to start the season out on the pup. That's all that tells me. If I recall properly, Cole Beasley had Josh Allen and Tom Brady as his quarterback last year and only could muster up 6 receptions for 35 yards. He's done. He's toast. This reeks of Travis Rudolph. And I know I got ripped for saying that Travis Rudolph was over the hill and done. I got destroyed for it. But this is the same thing. The room is full. You have enough competition in this room right now that you didn't need Cole Beasley. You didn't need him at all. It's not a pickup that I sit there and go, oh my God, what a pickup. It's to me, it's a safety net move. That's Sterling, and it just tells me Sterling Shepard and Wan'Dale Robinson are going to start season on the pup. That's what it tells me. That's literally all it tells me. If he gets out of camp, I'll be shocked. Let's see who else we got in the room today. Chris says, again, what's up, everyone? How's it going? Good morning, Tim. Yeah, we got Moet Olsen dropping in saying, good morning, Tim. We got the T-Brad. T-Brad. What's up, people? Says, Mark says, we'll see you next. I'll be there, Mark. Sunday, 10 a.m. I'll probably be there earlier than 10 a.m. But I will be there Sunday. We'll let you know where the Online Big Blue wagon is, so everyone can make sure they can stop on by, get their Online Big Blue t-shirts. Always wanted to be a radio announcer. Oh, we got Jeff, and then we had Jeff Single. What's going on? Mark says the wide receiver by committee. It's going to be wide receiver by committee, 1,000%. But for those that think that this Cole Beasley signing, Cole Beasley's washed up. It's okay, and it's he was never the most athletically gifted wide receiver. Never was. But he got by on what he had, and right now what he has is he couldn't work with Josh Allen and Tom Brady. So that tells me there's not a lot left in the proverbial tank. So we're gonna have to wait and see. We're also gonna talk about James Robinson in a minute. We got Jay Fed saying Beasley is just a camp body, and I said that the other day, and I got ripped on Twitter. I said he's a camp body. So Beasley is just a camp body who knows Dable's system. He's a slot receiver that can fill in since Wandale and Shepard are injured. Will start on the pup list. Exactly. T-Rad says that Beasley is coming in to play running back.
That's what she said.
We got Timothy saying good morning, everyone. We got Chris in his house saying good morning, all. We got Mr. Belford saying good morning, Tim. Johnny Wishbone reporting. Johnny Wishbone. Let me see if I can find Johnny Wishbone for you, because my soundboard is all screwed up, and I tried relabeling it because I'm using it for the other podcast. And honestly, I took the Giant stuff and moved it into one section, and I got the other section and the other section. Now I don't even know, and I don't even know if I still have Johnny Wishbone. I love the Johnny Wishbone one. Let's see here. Out of hand. Oh, here we go. Just for you, Mr. Belford.
I'm Johnny Wishbone, psychic extraordinaire. If you need me, just think Johnny Wishbone and I come running. Lots and biddle. It's like kibbles and bits, but different. Excuse me. Sorry to bother you.
I love that one. Of course, it's from Beverly Hills Cop 2. We also have Mr. Brown saying Beasley is Julian Edelman liked. Emilio says smash that like button. We also signed the venerable James Robinson, former running back with the New York Jets and the Jacksonville Jaguars. I like the signing. People that have followed the show for an extended period of time know that I'm a quasi Jacksonville Jaguars fan. I had season tickets back when the Super Bowl was in Jacksonville because I wanted to get Super Bowl tickets. And if you had season tickets, you would then be put in a pool to get Super Bowl tickets. I didn't win, but I had to buy season tickets for 2 years. So I'm kind of a quasi Jacksonville Jaguars fan. Good, short downhill runner. I call him a bowling ball back because the fact that once he gets rolling, he gets going. He's a guy that's going to find his spot. He's going to pick his spots on the line, and he's going to go forward. He'll get lost in the sauce a little bit against taller defenders. Had ACL, blew his Achilles out 2 years ago. Had 1,000-yard season as a rookie. Was on pace probably for another 1,000. His second year, blew out his Achilles. He's never regained the burst. Lost his starting spot to Travis Etienne. Etienne, it's a twister. He was traded to the Jets. Got released, couldn't crack the Jet lineup, got released by the Jets and went to the Pats for a cup of coffee. It reminds me of like Gary Brown from San Diego, who we picked up years ago. I mean, he's I'm not saying he's more than a camp body. Edelman is a camp body. Robinson's got an opportunity to make the team. He is going to be able to catch the ball out of the backfield, but he's not going to give you much of a yak. I think he only averages like 5 yards a catch. But he is going to get you the ball. He will get you the ball out of the backfield. So I mean that'll be that'll be good. So you'll have that option, to flare him out a little bit. But he's not going to get you much else. He does, like I said, back in his rookie season, he had the capability of a big play capability. I don't think he has that now. I think he's slowed down. Like I said, with the Achilles injury, he's slowed down a little bit. He doesn't have that same burst. And I always get worried. We've talked about this in the past, that when you have a blown Achilles, a year or two later, and we've talked about this a million times before, or sometimes the same year, sometimes 2 years later, it always seems like these players blow out their ACL. And I don't know if it's overcompensation because of the tendon injury, and they're just not comfortable with the fact that there could potentially be a problem. So we have to just kind of wait and see. Todd says, look at this wide receiver room. Wish we had Richie James back. Don't forget to hit the like button when you jump in here. That will help out the channel a little bit. Hit that damn like button, please. Please. Yeah, I agree. Timothy says, with Hyatt, Beasley, Robinson, Shepard, Campbell, Slayton, to be 6 wide receivers, and the Giants for 53. I think the Giants carry 6. Rob just overslept. That's who's pinging me. I think the Giants carry 6. I know some people think the Giants are going to carry 8 wide receivers, and Rob is one of those. I think that's insane. With the new quarterback rule, with the new quarterback rule, it's going to be interesting because of the fact that now you could potentially carry 3 quarterbacks, but it's not counting against your roster ever since what happened with the 49er playoff game. So it will be interesting to see, but I don't think the Giants are going to carry that. Yeah. T-Brad says the disrespect for Barkley is unreal. Jonathan Stewart, maybe. Oh, Jonathan Stewart, let's not go. The disrespect for Barkley is crazy. And I, you have certain YouTubers and content creators that are disrespecting him greatly, like he has no status on this team. And that's what is killing me. And I got into someone, on Twitter because they were basically saying that Giants don't need Barkley, and I basically said, there was I come up 5 games last year that the Giants would not have won if they did not have Saquon Barkley. And I find it interesting that this person then went on to tell me that at that point in time that it was interesting that I picked those 5 games because they were against some of the 5 worst run stopping defenses. So I went back and said, okay, so by your logic, Daniel Jones should get 0 credit for the playoff win in Minnesota because he probably played against one of the worst pass defenses I've seen in 20 years. So by this logic, so you can't argue with people that have this logic because they don't have a logic. They don't. Their logic, it was this. It's just that the Giants don't need this. The Giants don't need that because everything's going to be Daniel Jones. And they're so asphyxiated on Daniel Jones. They're bashing the guy that basically got you 5 wins last year. We're not winning in Tennessee without Saquon Barkley. We don't win in Carolina without Saquon Barkley. And people say, well, so you didn't have a great game in Carolina. Yes, but I was at that game. If you watch what he did for that game and how his presence helped lead them to that win, we are not winning the game. We're not winning Chicago without Saquon Barkley. We're not winning the Titans game. Excuse me. We're not winning the Texans game without Saquon Barkley. But they don't want to see that. They want to see that it's just the fact that everything is Daniel Jones. And if it's not Daniel Jones centric and you go anything against their logic, it hurts their feelings. And we said it before. Giants are 7-2, Barkley 900 plus yards, X amount of touchdowns. Giants finished go 3-6-1 or whatever it was, or 3-5-1, wherever you want to omit one of those games because Daniel Jones wasn't in the game. And Barkley barely had 350 yards because the team's keys on Barkley. And for people to disrespect Saquon Barkley and say that, well, we don't need him, and I could come up with 5 separate games that he won for us. We don't win in Jacksonville without Saquon Barkley. People talk about Daniel Jones and all of his game-winning drives. I believe it was Mike Too Nice that came out and said, yeah, Daniel Jones was like 4 for 5 for 11 yards on all those game-winning drives. Jacksonville game, we don't win that game as Barkley and Jones. Got to give Jones credit for that. And Jones were running the ball. They weren't throwing. They were running the ball at the end of that game. We don't win that game without Saquon Barkley. So you can't people talk about not disrespecting Daniel Jones, but people also don't understand you're disrespecting Saquon Barkley. And it's maddening that you have a segment of the fan base which sometimes is just stupid. I'll say it because I don't fucking care. Because they're not looking at the whole picture. They're only looking at their one portion of the picture. I can always tell you, yes, Daniel Jones had a great game in Minnesota. But like I said, to the logic of the 5 games that I said Saquon Barkley, we would not win without him last year. But he brings up the fact, well, that was the worst pass defense. I've been one worst run defense. Well, then you give 0 credit to the win for Daniel Jones in the playoffs because it was one of the worst pass defenses in Minnesota that I've seen in 20 years. But they didn't like that logic. They didn't like that logic at all. Because when you argue with logic, when you argue passion against passion with logic, the only end all be all that passion has is to insult you and just keep talking because they can't argue with logic. Let's see here. Got released with the Pats after the OT. Yeah, I knew he got released. That's right. It was the Pats. Okay. Hopefully he's not a Jonathan Stewart. Michael says, Timothy, without Barkley, we may win 3 or 4 games. Then I thought about Jones is true. I don't know if we're going to win 3 or 4 games. I think we could win 6 or 7 games. I think we can win 6 games without Barkley. Maybe I don't know. Like I said, because we don't know what we have in the running back room. We don't have a lot in that. While the cupboard is full in the wide receiver room, which there will be a good battle for the wide receiver position. Because like I said, I think they're going to carry 6. I think they're going to carry at least 2 tight ends. They potentially could carry 3 tight ends, depending on what style of play they're going to go with. Because Waller can't block. He's going to be strictly a pass catching tight end. Daniel Bellinger can block, but I'd like to see him get more aggressive at the point of contact. And I think that's why he bulked up. But it's going to be interesting to see exactly what we have, what we have in that running back room. Ferreira, Big Blue Ferreira says it was Cop. Yes, it was Cop. It was Cop-Bizzle. Yeah, it was. And I love it because then he had a tweet that he was all excited about. And then he was going back and forth with this guy from the New York Post. And the guy was like, you would be the first one to run out and get an autograph. He's like, I don't do autographs. But then he turns around and creams like a 12-year-old girl when Saquon Barkley liked his tweet. And I love it because there was one person that said, hey, do you want a wrestling belt? Because my 8-year-old son outgrew his. Wait, hold on. What do I have it? Hold on. Great balls of fire. Hold on. Look at me. I'm on fire today. Here we go. When Daniel Jones had his 5th-year option declined, he didn't run to a podcast and start crying. He put on his big point band, kissed his mouth shut, and took the Giants to the playoffs. That's what real leaders do. Really? Did you forget that we won 5 games? 5 of those games were won by Saquon Barkley with the help of Saquon Barkley? Did you forget that Daniel Jones was actually, wait for it, drum roll, under contract? So it's not like he had an option. Daniel Jones, Saquon Barkley's not even under contract. We got Rob in the house. He's overslept. Let's see if Rob is. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. We got Rob in his house. Finally coming in a little bit late, overslept. But you know what? Like the Giants, he's the sleeping giant. Sassy. Because he's sassy. Because you want to know why?
Do the monkey with me.
Welcome, Rob. Welcome into the show. Good to have you.
Good morning.
Special guest here. It's Rob. It's R0B bringing it into his house. Rob,
Good morning. Good morning.
You got kids. You got so much other shit going on in your life. I'm not going to yell at you. Normally, I would yell at you. Normally, I would, but I'm not going to because I'm in a good mood today. I'm in a sassy mood today.
What have I missed? What have you talked about for the last 18 minutes?
I was just talking about the Cop-Bizzle.
Oh, the dumbass.
Dumbass.
Yes.
I was reading his dumbass quote, and here I'll put it up for you just in case you didn't see it. The Daniel Jones quote about how Daniel Jones' option got declined and he didn't go running to a podcast. He put on his big boy bounce, kept his mouth shut, took the Giants to the playoffs. That's what it really does. I was just mentioning the fact that the situation is totally different considering Daniel Jones was under contract. And I was mentioning the fact that there were at least 5 games that Saquon Barkley helped the Giants win out of those games. But
Tim, those were bona fide, probably the 5 worst rushing defenses.
Oh, and then I happened to say, then I quoted back and told them, hey, listen, did you notice that we give 0 credit to Daniel Jones' his playoff win? Because that was probably the worst pass defense that I've seen in 20 years. He didn't like that one.
I distinctly remember seeing him just 100% being like, Daniel Jones, look what he did against the Vikings. Listen, chat, you know who Cop-Bizzle is? Cop-Bizzle is Brucey from The Longest Yard, who tries so hard to really try to oh my God, really tries to get going, right? Really tries to get traction, and just, eventually there's going to be some tape about him. He's been, just being stupid, I am not a Cop-Bizzle fan for personal reasons. There's a difference between, talking football and then going at a man's family, which is what Cop-Bizzle did. and but he actually joined a space that I was doing the other day. I gave him a mic. I was like, all right, whatever. And he was going back with Charlie Vacchiano. You know who Charlie Vacchiano is, the Chaz. They were going back and forth, and Charlie said something, and then he was like, well, why do you have to make it personal, Charlie?
And he makes it personal.
I said, whoa. I said, Cop, are you complaining about him making it personal? I said, what about when you came at my kids? Oh, I never came at your kids. I said, Cop, I've got the receipts. And then I've removed them from the space. And then he started a space, and he's like, I got removed from a space because I support Daniel Jones. Sure.
No, you got removed from space because you said something. Also said something about one of your career choices that you were. I'm not going to get into it because I actually got into them with him after I saw one of your.
Mine? Oh,
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I actually, not that you need to be defended. I just, when someone, when someone sits there and thinks they're above other people because other people have do certain things to help support their family, and I'm not going to get into it, and do things that, that's just what you do because that's what a man does.
Exactly.
And that, at the end of the day, someone doing something, saying something derogatory because someone is working 3 or 4 jobs or doing something to support their family. My big thing is fuck you. You don't say something like that.
100%.
You keep your mouth shut.
100%.
You keep your mouth shut, and you just keep it that way.
Yeah.
Because you want to sit there and you want to be a big mouth on the mic. And I've said this before, and I've said this a million times when I go to different games and things. I'm a big man in person. So the shit that you want to say to me or say to someone that I enjoy working with, and you say it to them on the mic, I guarantee you won't say it to them in person. Mm-hmm. And I always tell people, you better say shit that you would say to me to my face and not just on the microphone. That's what pissed me off about that. I'm not going to get into that, but that's what pissed me off about that.
No, I know, and I appreciate it. I just,
you don't need me to defend you.
You know what, Jim? I'll just add another love in my love belt notch for you.
Well, you were late. So, let's just get off the stupidity and get into the tag, because I also want to talk about you missed the James Harrison, not James Harrison, no, it's John Robinson.
James Robinson.
We talked about him for a little bit. We're going to talk about him a little bit more, but I want to run through these. I see some people leaving some comments. Larry is a morons are saying Daniel Jones carried us down the stretch 3-6-1. Those 3 wins came against 3 of the worst teams in the league. You're not wrong. T. Brad said 1 game by Daniel Jones, and he's the next Tom Brady. Well, he is the next Tom Brady. Irish
you guys
didn't know that. Irish Rover in this house saying, good morning, Tim. Good morning, Giants fans. We also got Hirsch for real in here as well, saying hello to everyone. T. Brad says, I've been battling Facebook. Yeah, T. Brad has been sending me some of his receipts. He's been battling the Facebook idiots as well. Anthony says, come on, Johnny Bravo takes me way back. Love it.
Johnny Bravo is the fucking man.
You gotta love it. Mr. McCormick says, even when Colin Cowherd makes fun of you, you have to re-image your life choices.
Man.
Dave Brown 2.0 from the Zach Attack. Windplug says Cobb has Daniel Jones teddy bear. He's the king of the Daniel Jones panty boys. Mark Hernandez says the team didn't pick up his 5th-year option because of the neck injury. He didn't even finish the season. Yeah. Giant fans dissing each other, not cool. No, it's actually Giant fans defending people who are trying to be dismissed because of having a different of an opinion. And if you're not allowed to have a different of opinion, it's just, now I got people running me on left. If you're allowed to have, you know what? This is the thing I've said a million times before. You're allowed to have a different opinion, Rob. Everyone can have a different opinion. But you know what? You need to respect
other people's
opinions.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, it's not disrespect. We also have the Big Don gifting 5 online Big Blue memberships right now in the chat. I just see that popped up. But you don't just disrespect. Just because someone has a difference of opinion, you don't disrespect them. You don't attack
100%.
You don't attack their family. You don't attack what they're doing to support their family. That's Bush League. And that's my thing. It has nothing to do with a Giant fan attacking another Giant fan. It has to do more with just respect for everyone's opinions and everyone's life. And then you don't know you have zero clue what anyone else is going through in their life. And you sit there and you go after people. No. If you want to go after someone, I'm the best, because you know what? I'll go after and I won't stop. I'm fucking relentless. And people will tell you that. I make people cry. But I don't do that because of the fact that it's just a fucking game. It's a sport.
Yeah. It's sport. You gotta be able to, like, people that have look, if everybody agreed on everything, then there wouldn't be really much conversation going on. So it's good to have a difference of opinion, but the line comes from, you have a difference in opinion, but then you make it personal, like, and you take it personal, so look, there's nothing wrong with people liking Daniel Jones or supporting Daniel Jones or believing in Daniel Jones. There's nothing wrong with that. Just like there's nothing wrong with me. And I don't even not like the guy. I just don't believe in the guy. It has nothing to do with me not liking Daniel Jones as a person. I think he's a good football player. I just don't believe in him being the future of my team. That's really what it comes down to. And because I don't believe that, and most don't believe that, some feel that we are fake fans. Some feel that we're this and that. But I can guarantee you, it's funny, if social media was was really, really big going into the 2007 season, I guarantee you people would be having the same war about Eli Manning. Because they were on the newspapers, on the radio shows. There were people calling in saying Eli's the guy. There were people calling in saying, fuck Eli, fuck Tom Coughlin, fire them both, get them both out of here, this, that, and the third. People would be going, Giant fans would be going to the game saying Eli was adopted. Eli wishes he was Peyton, this, that, and the third. Like, I mean, so it would be the exact same thing. It would be the exact same thing.
That lives in the New York area, we have WFAN, the Fan. You had back in the day, you had Mike Francesa and Christopher Russo, the Mad Dog. And I remember back in 2006 and 2007, people, and they were on drive time, and people just destroying Eli Manning, destroying Tom Coughlin. And to your point, right? If we had social media like we have now,
it'd be the same exact way. You'd have a section of the fan base that would say, like, they've seen stuff in Eli's play that make them think that he's going to be a good football player. Like, he's got it. And then there are other people that would be like, no, listen, he's done. It's this and that. And here's the thing. I think we went to 2 playoffs. We went to the playoffs twice before 2007. We went to the playoffs twice.
And we lost in the first round.
And we lost both. But Eli, we had got us to 11-5 record. And I think the other one was like 9-7 or something like that, or whatever, where we made it to the playoffs was like 9-7. But he made the playoffs twice. Daniel's only made the playoffs once. He's only made the playoffs once, and he's got 1 playoff win. And again, he played great in that game. It's just, I don't know. Like, everybody has a right to their opinion and feel how they want to. Just don't make it personal. Just don't take it personal. Because at the end of the day, and the last thing I'll say is this: a buddy of mine posted a video clip, which I thought was fucking perfect. It was hilarious. Brought me back from A Bronx Tale. And the guy and the little kid was like, the Mick was crying. And he's like, why do you care so much about why do you go ahead? Why do you care so much about Mickey Mantle?
He's not going to pay your bill.
Mickey Mantle makes $100,000 a year. Go tell him that you can't pay your rent. See what he tells you. He don't fucking care. The Mick doesn't care about you. So why do you care about the Mick?
Yep.
And he said, I never, and the kid even said in the movie, I never looked at the Yankees the same way after that day.
Yep.
So.
And that really like I said, that was Colochado, also known as C. But I mean, and that's the thing. It's only a game, people. It's only sports. Just, let's just have fun with it. And let's go back to having fun here. Let's go back. We got I got my oh shit, I just lost my monitor there. Oh, there my monitor's back. We got Hirsch for real in the room saying, what's up, everyone? We got the T-Bar. We also have the Big Don just gifted 5 more OG membership, so make sure you thank the Big Don. The Big Don's always a big supporter of the channel. T-Bone says, why is it Daniel Jones can have 1 good game and make the 4 bad games go away? Because it's selective memory. Giants 34 says, do you remember some of the fans on how we could only get rid of the guys if we had a top 10 quarterback? Mahomes, Brady are out there. When it comes down to needing the running back, we're going to talk about the running back situation in a minute. I also want to go to the wide receiver and want to talk to Rob again. Good morning, says Mark Hernandez. Chris says, that was a great space, Rob. I missed that space. Spike that like button. We got Zach Attack with the big super chat. We got Beasley. We should have got him 5 years ago. Rob, I was talking about Cole Beasley, and I was talking about the wide receiver room. So here's the wide receiver room right now. And I keep telling, and I was trying to tell people today that we only have Cole Beasley because of the fact that more than likely Wan'Dale Robinson and Sterling Shepard are going to start off on the pup. So you needed a slot wide receiver, and Cole was out there. Cole knows Dable. Cole knows the system. Cole can, Beasley can, but it was a good move. I even said the same thing on Twitter. It was a good move 4 years ago. And when you have Josh Allen and Tom Brady as your quarterbacks and you only have 6 receptions for 35 yards last year, I'm not filled with joy with the wide receiver room, but I'm not overly concerned yet. But what do you think? What do you think of the wide receiver room? Everyone's coming out of the clown car.
Listen, the Cole Beasley signing, and I guess I was wrong. I thought Mims was released. I guess because I saw
he was initially going to be released, and then he got traded to Detroit.
And then he got traded. Okay, because I saw the release post that he was said to be released. I missed the trade part of that. So, but even like that would have been something I would have done. What I doubt that the Lions gave up a big amount for Mims.
I think 6 or 7. It was
why not? I mean, I would have offered a 6th round pick or something like that and got the deal done. Like Mims is a guy that could play the outside. Again, he's not like this world beater guy, but you need more outside guys. I mean, right now our outside guys are Isaiah Hodgins, Darius Slayton, right? I mean, Campbell can play the outside, but I think he's more likely going to be like a slot guy, at least for the first half of the year.
We have a lot of guys.
We have a lot of side guys, indeed. I've got one here at my house right now. I got a side guy here at my house right now.
He's going to go to the Giants camp right as we speak. But there's a lot of guys.
There is. So it's like, but now you're bringing Cole Beasley. Okay, you got Cole Beasley, you got Jamison Crowder, Wan'Dale Robinson, Sterling Shepard, and obviously Paris Campbell can play the slot. So it's like now you got 5 slot guys, and I can hear it now at the end of the year. Oh, you know what? Daniel Jones, Joe Shane, he's got all of these slot wide receivers, and we don't have a true number 1 outside wide receiver. And by golly, Daniel Jones needs that so that he could be successful, and that's what we need to do. And it's not his fault, that he didn't throw for 4,000 yards because he's all of these short guys. How is he supposed to see them over these big linemen, and this, that, and the third? Just like I can hear it now. I can hear the excuses now. And to me, like that is not a, like you said, the Cole Beasley move was a good move like 3-4 years ago, like right. And then I love him. I love him. Spiro. I love this guy, but like I'm talking to him in a chat and he's like Crowder or Beasley could be returning kicks. And I'm like, why do I want a 35 or 36-year-old guy returning my punts? Why do I want that? Now, granted, there weren't a lot of like big punt returns last year, right? But if you have a younger, faster guy back there, it gives you an opportunity to have one. And especially this year, I'm going to think we're going to need that because we're going up against some tough teams. So if you could go ahead and you can force them to punt, and then you get a Hyatt back there, or you get Campbell back there,
that could literally cause the special teams to quiver a little bit because of the fact that
exactly.
You don't want an over the hill Phil McConkey.
Exactly. Yeah.
Sitting there returning punts. And I love Phil McConkey when he was on the Giants, but Phil McConkey, the only reason he was returning punts because Bill Parcells trusted him and he caught everything, but he would get like 4 or 5 yards a punt.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like I get it, you guys. They like that's one thing like they want the for sure catch. But I mean, James didn't drop anything. You know what I mean? Like, he didn't drop like, the punts or anything like
right now.
No, yeah, you know what I mean? Like, but it's like, I want somebody that's going to be able to have an opportunity to flip the field. Like you got Pimpleton that's been on the practice squad, who's a fast returner. Like, why aren't you using him for returns? Like, why do we need Crowder, who's 36? Why do we need Cole Beasley, who's 35? Like, why do we need that? Like, we don't need that. Like, I get it. Like if Shep and Wan'Dale are going to be on the pup list. Okay. And maybe they're going to use Paris Campbell in a different way. To be honest with you, let's kind of veer off for a little bit. I have a weird feeling that they're going to use Paris Campbell like KC used McCole Hardman. Like they moved McCole Hardman around a lot in Kansas City, end arounds, getting him on certain types of routes, stuff like that. I have a feel they're going to try to use him like a McCole Hardman, lining him up in the backfield. They may give him some handoffs, and things of that nature. I think they're going to use him like that. And I think Wandell can be used like that as well because Wandell played, running back. But especially if Barkley doesn't show, which it's still a possibility, I could see them, I think Gray's going to get the start, or if James Robinson now is here, he would be the starting running back, splitting time with Eric Gray. And I think they would mix in Paris Campbell at running back.
We're gonna talk about James Robinson in a minute, but I'm gonna run through a couple more of these real quick before I get to James Robinson again. T-Brad says, Tim, please let me on later. Yeah, T-Brad, I'll have you on in a little bit. Make sure you stay around. We'll have T-Brad on because T-Brad's always good for a good rant. Kevin says, oh man, I can't wait until we draft Drake. Maybe Drake Van Gogh. I thought we were getting Archie Manning. I thought that was the.
No, it's Arch Manning. Yep.
I thought that was the whole build up here. Damn, Dom is going crazy. Thank Don, Big Don, man. I love Big Don. Big Don is a huge supporter of the channel.
Dom.
He is a
Big Don.
Big Don. He is a huge supporter of the channel. He does everything he can. We've had him on. He helped co-host the draft party, and he's always
across the pond.
Big Don. Not Don.
Yes, Big Don. Sorry,
Big Don been on the draft. He was on the draft party as well. But he's been on the show. He's actually been a fill-in host for you once.
I actually heard he is a co-owner now of Poppycockers.
Yes, Dom gave Don Poppycocker stock, and I don't want to tell you. Let's see. Hurst for real. See, DJ never had the weapons that Eli had. T-Brad said, yeah, definitely on the fringe with Eli. Absolutely. Let's see what else we're gonna get. Let's see what Chris has says. I agree with all different opinion. I really like Jones, but most importantly, I love the Giants. That sums it up. That should just sum it up right there. Let's see. All quarterbacks can play at an elite level. They are pros. The difference is the franchise quarterbacks play at an elite level consistently, and it's been 5 years. C. Sanders says, do you think we see Eric Gray early in the season with the whole Barkley situation? Here's my thing about Barkley, and I'll wait till Rob gets off his phone.
Responding to my wife.
Oh, okay. Who's more important?
You put me in a tough place here, Tim, to answer that question. Because I want to say you, but if I don't say my wife, I'll get in trouble.
Yeah, that's what
she said.
So we're gonna leave that. we're gonna leave that. We touched on James Robinson a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
Now, James Robinson, and I like I said, people that know this channel know I'm a quasi Jacksonville Jaguars fan because I had season tickets for 2 years because I tried to win Super Bowl tickets. Mm-hmm. So I went to all the games, so I was paying for the tickets. So I followed them, and James came out, undrafted free agent, rushed for 1,000 yards, was having a good second season, tore his Achilles, really hasn't been the same since. Bounced around, after his third year, he got traded to the Jets after Travis Etienne came in and took over. I call him a bowling ball back. He's a downhill runner. He can squirt out through the line. He relies on a burst to get through the line. He's not going to give you much in the passing. He will catch the ball, but he's going to give you almost no yak. That's just not the type of back he is. Is he an every down back? The thing is this: he was never an every down back in Jacksonville. And can he be part of a rotation for running back by committee? I could say yes, but if you get cut by the Jets, and you get pushed out in New York, and then you go to the Pats, and then you get cut again. I mean, I'm not saying. I mean, and that initial burst which he had that first year to me is kind of gone ever since he has the Achilles, ever since he had that injury 2 years ago. So maybe it's going to be one of those things that he's going to be almost 3 years removed from that injury, and maybe he's going to gain that burst. But I compared him to when we got Gary Brown years ago from San Diego, when he was over in San Diego, former 1,000-yard back, and Gary played well enough for the Giants, but he was never that that back that people thought he was going to. And I remember Gary Brown when we went out and got him, but if he's put in the rotation, Rob, and you rotationally put him in with with Breida and Gray and maybe Brightwell, I think the Giants have a running back committee. They're not going to equal the production of Barkley, but could they have, and I'm asking you this question, could they have a running game that is sustainable enough that teams aren't going to limit themselves from putting 7-8 in the box and instead just take those defenders and drop them back into coverage?
I'll be very honest. Yeah, I actually do. I think that it would be. I think that it would be credible. Look, I'm looking at his stats right now. And I looked at him before. Rookie year, 1,070 yards, 7 touchdowns. He had 54 first downs. Rushing the football on 240 carries, and he only played in 14 games. So he had
that was a bad Jacksonville team.
It was. That was a very that was really, really, and really bad.
Said this before, and it's the same thing with Tay Crowder. Even when you're an okay player and you have terrific stats, someone on a bad team still has to make the plays.
Yeah. And I don't even remember who the quarterback was at that time. And then obviously 2021, they draft. I think they actually had the number 1 pick. So that was the year in 2020 where they got the number 1 pick. They got Trevor Lawrence in 2021. And he played in 14 games, started 13, had that 767, 8 touchdowns.
And that's when he blew out his Achilles.
And then he comes back in 2022. This is also in 2022. They drafted Travis Etienne in the 2nd or 3rd round. That they liked out of Florida, not out of Florida. I can't remember his school. And he had
Travis got hurt that first year. Travis didn't play. His second season, they actually drafted Travis. Then Travis missed that entire season.
In 2021.
In 2021, he didn't play until last year. He was out all of 2021. Travis.
Oh, I thought Travis was a rookie last year.
No,
okay,
he missed all of his rookie season with an injury.
Okay. So then it looks like, Travis just kind of came on hot. It looks like, Doug Peterson came in, and I think they wanted to go to a different type of route, right? And with the running back position, I mean, he had 425 yards with 100 carries, but 340 of that and 3 of his touchdowns, his only touchdowns that he had, came with Jacksonville. And I think the only reason why the Jets made the trade is because Breece Hall, went ahead and got hurt, so they wanted to go ahead and bring in a running back to supplement that. And I think that's another reason why he got cut. I think Breece Hall is scheduled to return. I think he's probably going to be ready to go. He's going to be the featured guy, and there's no question that Breece Hall is a 3-down back. So I think that they felt probably for what they were probably paying him, that I think that it was not worth having him there.
They're not paying him anything because he was an undrafted free agent.
Well, when I'm talking about like when they trade, like re-signing him and stuff like that. Like, I don't think that they felt the need that they probably needed to re-sign him. They've got a couple of young running backs that are there already that you can split time with, with Hall if need be. But I think Hall, they believe, is going to be their workhorse. Now, I think the Jets probably dropped the ball because if Hall is anything like maybe like what Saquon Barkley was, it takes a year for that injury to to get the confidence back. So I think they would. I think that James Robinson, if Barkley doesn't show, right, would be definitely the starting running back here. And I definitely think he's going to bring a different style of running. James Robinson is more of a power runner. He's not he's a downhill runner. He is a downhill runner back that you can run up. Like, that's a guy you can give like 30, 35 carries to. Like, he's built and he's 24 years old. He's young. Like, he's not old at all.
It's funny. I just thought about this. You know who the starting quarterbacks were for Jacksonville in 2020? You had
Gardner Minshew, I think, was one.
Gardner Minshew is one of them. And there's another guy.
Oh, fuck. What was his name?
There's another guy who happened to have been a Giants starting quarterback.
Jake Fromm?
No.
Oh, no, Mike Glennon. Mike
Glennon was on that team. That was a bad Jack. Here's my only thing about that. Jacksonville had 1,000-yard undrafted free agent rush for 1,000 yards in 2020. In 2021, they went out and drafted Travis Etienne. And my thing is this: why would you go out and draft a running back high if you felt
they took him in like the 2nd or 3rd round, right?
If you felt that Jacksonville was going to, no, Travis went 25th overall.
They took Travis in the first round.
It was a trade from the Los
Oh,
Angeles
so they took Trevor and Travis in the first
in the
round.
first round.
Wow.
And that's what I'm saying. If they felt so much about their undrafted free agent running back, why did they trade with the Rams and take Travis 25th overall, and then after the injury remove themselves from Robinson?
Well, I think the biggest thing is probably Doug Peterson. You're right. I think when Travis was drafted, it was
Urban Meyer,
which his brother, Trevor, plays for Florida.
Mhm.
So, and I think obviously Meyer probably, knows him, probably spoke with him, probably knows them very, very well, the family, because I'm sure he was still working and doing things and whatever.
But here's the thing. Urban Meyer drafted him.
Mhm.
And then Doug Peterson, who didn't draft him,
Used him.
chose him over
James Robinson. And I think when you look back, look at if you go back and you look at Doug Peterson and the running backs that he's used. I mean, he had LeGarrette Blount, and stuff like that. But when you look, I mean, I believe he used LaShawn McCoy, right? He had LaShawn McCoy for a little bit.
For a hiccup. He had
Yeah. So I think that Travis is more of what Doug Peterson is looking at the running back position, a guy that can run, but a guy that they can use in the passing game.
Yeah, but he only had 220 carries last year, Travis did, for 1,125 yards, and he only started 12 games.
Correct. And so I think when you look at
he is more of an explosive back.
Yeah, and when you look at James, 240 for 1,070. So Travis had 20 less carries, and he played in 2 less games.
Yeah.
So you see the explosiveness, right? You see the explosiveness and everything like that. So I think that's really what got to the point where I think that Doug Peterson said, you know what, James Robinson is expendable, and then they traded him at the trade deadline. They got some type of value for him, and he had value, right? He had a 1,000-yard season, then he had a 700-yard season, came off an injury. It was only 23 at the time.
But the problem is this: there have been plenty of backs who have had a 1,000-yard season and then disappeared off the planet.
Yeah,
I mean, that is not a cautionary tale. That is just the truth. There have been guys who had a great rookie season and then you never heard from them again. There's guys that had 1,000 yards when they were 27 and then never had anything again. I'm not saying that's happening with James Robinson, but I am saying that for the people that are on social media who think that they are replacing Saquon Barkley with James Robinson, there was a reason why James Robinson 5 days before camp was going to start was still on the open market. There's a reason. It's just, and teams are wrong about people all the time, but there is a reason why when camp is about to start and you are a veteran and you have a little bit of a resume and you still haven't been signed by a team and you are going to come in on a veteran minimum deal.
Well, I think a big reason for it though, Tim, is he had that 1,000-yard season, right? Then he had that 7, then he had the Achilles, and then he followed it up with a year where he only had 425. Right. And I think the teams looked at he's probably on the decline. The other thing is, you got Dalvin Cook who's still available, right? So that's a more of an attractive guy. Kareem Hunt is still available. He's probably, from his name, is a little bit more attractive than James Robinson. So I could see a couple of different things here. One, if James Robinson comes in, Barkley's still holding out, and they like the combination of Gray and Robinson and like that, and basically what they were going to get maybe in the passing game from the running back, right? Or what we're anticipating they would get from Barkley in the passing game, they can use, Paris Campbell in that way, out of the backfield, getting passes. I could actually see, and I can't believe I'm going to say this, I really, really can't. I can actually see a situation where they pull the tag from Barkley.
I can't
and they run it with James, they run it with Gray, and they utilize it a different way. The other thing I could see is
they actually not to interrupt you, but they actually already mentioned, and there was already rumors about at times using Paris Campbell as a running back.
As a running back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's already been some rumors and speculation that's what the Giants may end up doing.
Yeah, they were using him in the mini camp that way, and then in the other like they were using him that way. The other thing I'm hoping for, which I think is probably more likely, is I think even if Barkley would show, I think James Robinson is still going to be on this roster. And I think if you get Barkley on here with Robinson, with Gray, right, that is a very, very good running back room, in my opinion.
Well, we don't know what Gray is. We have zero clue what Gray is. Gray could turn out to be the Gray Ghost. Gray could turn out to be Eric.
Well, just even with James and Barkley, I think that's a very, very good balance right there.
The problem is Gray could also turn out to be George Adams. He could turn out to be a Gerard Bunch. We don't know it. We have no clue. We haven't even taken a snap yet in preseason, so we have no idea what Gray is even going to be. So I think the idea of bringing in Robinson was also the fact that you drafted Gray, but he is still an unknown. You have Matt Breida, who you know what he can do. You have Gary Brightwell, where you have an idea of what he can do, and then you throw a James Robinson into that mix, and he has got somewhat of a pedigree. And then you can kind of wait and see if Gray turns into Ahmad Bradshaw or something else. Because we like I said, we haven't even taken a snap yet. We don't know. He could be great, or he could be
correct.
Not so great.
And the thing too to keep an eye out is if they're going to be using Paris Campbell like in the passing game or at a running back, it almost possibly I think makes Matt Breida expendable. Right. If they say they like James Robinson, Barkley comes back. They like James Robinson. They like that nice 1-2 punch between those two guys. You're not going to put Eric Gray on the practice squad because I think they value him as a young player. And I think that makes it with the signing of James Robinson. If he stays on the roster, I think that pushes a guy like Brightwell to the practice squad. And then a guy like Matt Breida, if they're going to use Paris Campbell in that line, I think Paris Campbell can do what Matt Breida did for us last year.
The only problem I have with James Robinson, unless he is a starter, he's going to be either a second or a third back. He doesn't play special teams.
No, but Gray could play. But Gray could play special teams.
We don't know that yet.
He did it, but I mean, he did do returns when he was at Tennessee.
But special teams isn't just returning the ball. You need 11 other guys on the field to play special teams.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't think anybody thought that Terrell Davis could play special teams either, but then he did.
Well, I think Terrell had to out of necessity.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like, you could force Gray to go ahead and play the special teams to have him contribute. Right. And I think like there are ways that you can get it because they're not going to carry 4 running backs on the active roster. They're just not. So It's either they're gonna like Barkley shows up, they cut James Robinson, they go with Breida and they go with Gray, and that's the way it is. Or I think Barkley shows and they keep Barkley Robinson.
I think if Barkley shows up, they keep Breida, they keep Robinson, and they keep Barkley. Of course, I think that's what they do. And I think either Gray or Brightwell goes over to the practice squad, or someone has the mysterious hamstring injury. That they get moved to the pup or get put somewhere for a little bit. I mean, I think that's I think you're bringing in Robinson because of the fact that he has a pedigree. You hope he can return to form. He's young, but the problem is when you are a downhill runner and you lose that burst to get through the line. And I also get worried because we've talked about, you and I have actually talked about this before, getting that Achilles injury. There has been a large rash of ACL injuries that have happened a year or 2 years after someone comes back from Achilles.
Sterling Shepard, tore his Achilles in 2021 and then, went through that whole regimen to come back. And then week 3, his knee just kind of went out. And there was so it happens. Like when you do damage like that, your knee is overcompensating, for, your Achilles injury. And then that's what, happened with Shep.
Yep. We got to give a big shout out to the Big Don again. Dropping in the super sticker. Of course, all super stickers and all super chats go to I love stickers. I've loved stickers since I was a kid. All the stickers and the super chats and everything else on these streams go to the Philadelphia Children's Hospital, and Big Don knows that. So he's always out there. We always joke around saying he's always out there helping out the kids because he is, and that's why he's freaking love. That's why I love him, man. Let's go through a couple of these. I want to talk about a couple different things. Let's see here. Where was I? I got lost. We got Big Don. Everyone thanking the Big Don. We got that one. Let's roll down here a little bit. Oh, we got Talk with Zoe. Off topic because I just got here. What was your Madden? Okay, first of all, I love you. I love you, man. I love you, Big Zoe. I've taken Lorenzo to the games with me. We've been on the field together holding the flag during the opening ceremonies. But you really got to come here and ask me a Madden question?
Fuck Madden.
Madden's Madden. Who cares? Daniel Jones got a 75 in Madden.
What does that tell you?
Listen, I'm going to tell you this. Tipperon and EA Sports, they are located in Longwood, Florida. And I've actually for 2 years, I was a Madden tester because they were literally, I would say, 3 miles from my house. And I knew the guys that worked there. And I'm going to tell you the process that they go through to do these grading. And this was back in the early 2000s, so maybe it's changed. I don't know. It's not like they had it's not like they called up like Joe Gibbs. It's not like they called up like like these coaches, or Wink. It's not like they called up Bill Parcells and said, "Hey, what are these people should be graded at?" These are guys sitting in a room coming up with a grading system. So it's not like these are NFL guys saying Daniel Jones is a 75.
Yeah.
It's just a bunch of people like us sitting in a room, except they happen to build a game every year. Not well, but they build a game every year and they come up with these numbers. And I love it because then they change them through the season. Now they have the weekly updates. So they change. I like playing Madden, but like I said, I like playing 2K more. But I mean, Daniel Jones is 75 in Madden. That's
not very good. You mean he didn't get an 85 plus after that performance against the Vikings?
Lorenzo, do you know what his speed and acceleration rating is?
I think I want to say his speed is probably like 85.
Okay, because I would be curious about that.
I think his speed's like probably around like 85. I don't know what his acceleration is, but I could see them giving him like 85 speed.
Because I would be curious about that because Daniel Jones, when he gets going, is pretty fast. But the problem,
which I think that's actually pretty slow.
Yeah,
like if they gave him 85 speed, yeah. Like I if I was gonna give Daniel speed, honestly, I'd probably give him like a 90. I'd probably give him 90 speed.
I wouldn't give him a 90.
I would give him 90.
That's low. For me, that's low end wide receiver speed. And I don't think.
But I think Daniel.
I don't think
downhill, like straight line. Daniel's pretty quick.
Yeah, definitely is. But I don't.
I'd say 88 to 90.
I think 85 would be good for Daniel Jones, and I would give him like an acceleration of like a 75 because he's got.
I'd give him like 80 acceleration.
Now, because he is not, like I said, he is not a running quarterback. He is a quarterback that runs, and there is a huge difference between and we've talked about that a million times. So I would give him a little bit lower in acceleration. But like I said, I could see him like an 80, 84 on speed. Because of the fact that I think acceleration though has to be in that equation, because how long? And I've said this a million times before. I had a '76 Oldsmobile, and that car was fast, but you had to get that shit going downhill first to get the speed to get it going, and that's kind of what Daniel Jones does. That's why I said he is a quarterback that runs. He's not a running quarterback. I mean, there's a difference. So there's a
difference there.
There's a difference. We got John. What does he say? Tim and Rob, if the Giants go 0-5, what should the Giants organization do going forward?
Can't really do anything.
Cry. You're 5 games into the season. Pray.
Can't really do anything.
Wait, but the question is, are they 0-5 with or without Saquon Barkley? I like Zoe said, we're going to take Williams if they go 0-5. I
don't think we're getting Caleb Williams or even Drake May. Like we're never look guys, like we're not going for a quarterback in the draft that's coming up here.
When you jump in, make sure that we got 98 people, 98 people in there. Make sure to like button come in. I hate the media's portrayal of Daniel Jones. Also, the way they discussed the deal. The media doesn't mention that Daniel Jones would have scooped a deal. But no, he wouldn't have scooped a deal up pretty fast. Daniel Jones would have gotten a deal in free agency, 1,000%. 1,000. There was no doubt in my mind. Daniel Jones, if he hit the free agent market, Rob would have gotten a deal, but he wouldn't have gotten $40 million.
No, absolutely not. He would have gotten a deal probably in the low 30s, high 20s.
Which I didn't understand with the Giants was this. This was such, allegedly, we don't know yet, such a heavy quarterback class. So that means your quarterback free agent class was probably going to be a little light because of the fact that people understood, listen, the guys that really needed quarterbacks, we're going to get them in the top 10.
Yeah.
So the Giants had leverage against Daniel Jones by saying, hey, listen, you could go out and get a deal in the open market 100%, but you're probably not going to get $40 million. That's why I think a lot of ways the Giants kind of bid against themselves.
Yeah.
In that situation.
Like just from a business standpoint, right? It would have been better to overpay Barkley a little bit. Say you gave Barkley the $16 million that he was looking for, and you tag Daniel Jones and let him go out and test the market, right? Because if a team is dumb enough, like the Raiders, sorry for Raider fans, like
nothing wrong.
Like if the Raiders wanted to get a guy like Daniel Jones, like they would have traded you assets for it, which at that point, then you could have used those assets and moved up and gotten a quarterback, right? So it's like, but at that point, I don't think Daniel probably would have gotten like maybe an offer. He would have gotten a deal, but I think it would have been a deal that, like I said, I think would have been like in the high 20s, low 30s. And I think that the Giants would have matched that offer and given him that offer. And that would have freed up a lot more cap.
They could have used the non-exclusive tag on him.
Yep, exactly. That's the tag I'm talking about.
2 first-round picks, and they had the right to match the offer. You want to have your mind blown, Rob?
Yeah,
I was thinking about this. So we signed Cole Beasley. Now the rumor was that Saquon Barkley just wanted $2 million more, and we signed Cole Beasley and James Robinson to veteran minimum contracts, which would equal over $2 million. So you're saying we could have just given that money to Barkley? I just blew him off the screen. Come on.
Oh my God, bro.
Was I the only one that thought about that? You could have gave Barkley $12.5 million. You wouldn't have had to go out and get Robinson. You probably could have still signed Cole Beasley.
I'm going to throw up.
Did anyone else think of that?
Throw up, bro. Like, that's nuts, dude. I mean, you're right. You're right. With the amount of money that they went ahead and they gave Robinson and they gave Cole Beasley, you could have just given that to Saquon Barkley.
You could just give it to Barkley 4 months ago.
And you could have still signed Cole Beasley, because I'm sure Cole Beasley is like $1 million or under. With his age or some shit like that.
No, he's got to get at least veteran minimum. So with his terms of service,
like 1.1 or something like that, or whatever it is.
1.6, 1.7, because he's been in the league for 10 years, I think.
So I mean, he would have. I mean, but that's nothing.
He probably got a little over $1 million. If he gets the veteran minimum, he gets a little over $1 million, because he's only has I don't think he's reached his full service time right now. So I mean, that's but think about that for a minute. Mr. Belford says, my best take on Saquon Barkley is the issue. It seems like the Giants front office would rather leave the BMW in the shop and buy a whole bunch of high mileage Toyotas. Oh my goodness. Let's see here. I got the super chat. We also have trade Saquon. I hear this a lot. Trade Saquon. You can't trade someone that doesn't have a contract. Saquon has to go out and find a team that is willing to give him money, because he's on the non-exclusive tag too. So he would have to go out and find a team and then have agree to a contract, and then have the Giants negotiate a trade.
Yeah.
So and that's why I keep saying, when people like Barkley's not
going to get traded. Like I don't think that Barkley is going to get traded unless Barkley comes out and says, we are seeking a trade. Right. Or the Giants, come out and say, all right, we're seeking a trade. Then maybe you'll get some teams that call up, and say, hey, what you're looking for, this, that, and the third, and you work a trade out.
Right.
But just like, unless Barkley comes out and says it, or the Giants come out and say it, like, now let's just say Barkley's still holding out and they don't come to an agreement, and say Nick Chubb goes down, or a team loses their running back, right? I could see them maybe picking up the phone and making a call to the Giants and being like, "Hey, is Barkley available for trade? We're interested. If they lose a guy, but
now, if that happens, the Giants or Barkley would have to go Yannick Ngakoue route when he was back in Jacksonville. He would have to sign the tag for less money, and then it would then allow the Giants to trade him.
Yeah, but then the team that traded for him, they could offer him
they can offer
a little bit more money. They can offer him a contract at that
but
point.
But for cap reason wise, the Giants would have to have him take less money on the tag, like Yannick Ngakoue did, and then have him be traded.
Yeah.
And that's why I keep saying when people say, well, Barkley has no power. Barkley's got a lot of power. Unless the Giants are willing to rescind that tag, Barkley, and I've said this before, and we talked about this, you can't go out and get a Dalvin Cook because Dalvin Cook wants 8 to 10. And if you give Dalvin Cook 8 without rescinding the tag, Barkley can turn around and be a dickhead and just sign the tag and put the Giants $10 million over the cap.
Yeah.
So you can't make any large move unless you clear the situation up with Barkley.
Now the Giants can't sign Barkley to a long-term contract now, but another team could.
Yes, if he gets traded to another team.
Yeah. So
but right now, they lost that first right.
Yeah. So at that point, I mean, the people saying that Barkley has no leverage, I think Barkley still has a lot of leverage. I think Barkley still has good, now he doesn't have more leverage than the Giants, but Barkley still has leverage. He can still say, I'm not showing up, I'm not playing, and everything like that. And
the thing that you mentioned before, the Giants leverage, only Giants leverage that they have is if they win without Barkley and Daniel Jones balls out, but you have to wait till the season progresses.
To see that.
Or B, the only leverage they have is they can tell Barkley, Barkley mentioned in the interview, I could say F you to my team and the teammates and everything else, is if the Giants say F you to Barkley and rescind the tag and get nothing for him.
Exactly.
That's the only
and they're not going to do that. I don't think that Joe Shane is going to do that. I think Joe Shane isn't stupid enough to not get any type of value for Barkley. I think he knows. I mean, you can get at least a late second, definitely a third round pick for Barkley right now, and maybe another pick, maybe like a fifth or a sixth round pick, possibly. So you're not gonna, they're not gonna just do that. But I think, look, like I said, I think he's got some leverage where he could just say, look, fuck the Giants, fuck my teammates, go win without me. Go play Dallas, go play some of these teams without me, and let's see how your running attack does. Let's see how
the media is running with. I love how the media is running with that comment, but they miss like the other large portion.
Yeah, like I hate the fact that they're saying, "Oh, Saquon Barkley, he said fuck the Giants." Like,
but they didn't listen to that. But I want to get to this one from Travis. How do you pay a running back big money that had 2 good years out of 5 when you're trying to build a Super Bowl contender and make it make sense? Very easy. How do you give $40 million to a quarterback who had 1 average season out of 4 and has only been healthy for 1 year out of 4? How do you give him $40 million?
Don't worry, we'll wait.
I could hear it in the distance. Waiting too long. Tim, you're always right. Of course, I'm always right. Matting ratings never make sense. They never did. I think they gave him a 77 speed. Okay, 88 speed. Excuse me, 88 speed. And I think 89 acceleration. See, that's on crack. Wow, a 75. A group of nerds that don't really know a game. And I'm going to say is they're not nerds. They are some very knowledgeable people in that room at EA Sports. And I mean, this was years ago, but they're not nerds. Well, some of them are, but they understand sports. Realistically, R0B, I'm happy with Quinn Ewers. I can't ever say that name. But they'll take a wide receiver. Big Dash knows Big Dash. Of course, he's always in the chats, and Big Dash has got a wonderful channel. Great giant.
He does.
Well, love Big Dash's stuff. I love everybody.
Big Dash knows what?
Big
Giants football.
What's going on? We got Anthony in the building right now.
What's up, Anthony?
We got everyone rocking in. How's it going, Tim? What's going on?
Kareem, what's good with you?
He's always good, man. He's always here. He's 24 years old. Who's 24 years
old? Robinson's 24.
Oh, okay. It was definitely more than 2 million for sure. No, actually, here's the problem, Anthony. Barkley has basically come out and said he's not trying to set the market at 16 million. And I've said this before. Barkley even talked specifically about the fact that the Giants didn't even offer them the same amount of guaranteed money that he would have gotten if he was tagged twice. This is coming from Barkley.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the source. This is coming from Barkley. So if that's the case, and Barkley's saying, hey, listen, I just wanted to get paid fairly. If you want to give him an extra, 2 to 3 million, it actually would be probably 3 million if you think about it, because I think you gave Robinson probably a million. I'd probably say 1.2. I don't know what the veteran minimum is for a 3 or 4 year player. You probably gave another 1.7 to Cole Beasley, which equals 3 million, which means you could give Barkley 13 million and guarantee 26 over 2. And if he's really not trying to set the running back market, there you go.
Yeah, I mean, like the interview for me, and I'm sure you watched, it was an hour long. And for me, like that interview was really eye-opening for me, because everything that we talk about, on these podcasts, Twitter spaces, timelines, right? Barkley knows it all. Like he knows what the market is. He knows about the tag. He's like, listen,
he was very fluid about that whole entire
very, very, very fluid.
He about it as well.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, I know what the market is. He's like, they tagged me twice, and I know what the tag is. It's 10.1 right now. It's 12.5 next year. That's $22.5 million. Like, why would I start anything less? And now the only thing people could probably say, questioning, like, he's like, where he says, like, I'm not asking for the most in the National Football League, because I already said I'm the best running back in the league. That's just a player being confident in himself. Anybody says that. Like any player that doesn't say, I believe I'm the best running back, I believe I'm the best quarterback, I believe I'm the best wide receiver.
Anyone in life or in business, that's
like you got to feel that way. You have to feel that way. So I think in that interview, Saquon Barkley let it be known that he is aware of all the financials. He is aware of all of it. He knows what his worth is, and he is aware of the negotiation tactics. So it's not like he's just oblivious to it, which leads me to believe when people say that he was probably misrepresented by his agents.
I don't read the market.
Yeah, like the agency probably misread the market, but I don't think in conversations between his agent and Barkley was saying, like, man, what's the money situation? Like, what's this? What's that? Like, I'm sure they were having conversations like, listen, okay, if you're going and you're negotiating the table, this is what the tag is now. This is what the tag is next year. This is where it needs to be starting at, and then go forward. Like, I'm sure Barkley was aware of that, and also he hinted in the interview, he's like talking about like next year, him going out there and proving what he has to do. And he's like, I plan on doing that. He kind of alluded to the fact that he was going to play. And this was 6 days before the deadline. So I think mentally he's already put in his head that he's okay with playing. So now, but he also said, like, do I need to rethink this? Do I need to sit out? Do I need to do this? And I think you have to, at this point, you got to outweigh the pros and the cons. Okay, if you sit out, what is it gaining you this year? It doesn't gain you anything other than maybe a 1-year contract, which the Giants could still do, right? Or do you take the $10 million, which he stated, that's a lot of money. He did say that. That's a lot of money. So, or do you come out there and you play and you bet on yourself like he did at the halfway point of last year and hope that you get a bigger, better deal? But he's like, if I play good enough, they could tag me again. Like, and he's aware of that too. So, like, well, I thought it was a great interview.
Here's the other thing that people talk about, the deal that was allegedly fully offered to him, during the bye week. Now, allegedly, and I've talked about this, the rumor has it, and this has actually kind of been confirmed, it was like $12 million a year, and it was a 2-year deal or a 3-year deal, and only the first year and only half of the second were guaranteed. So why would he sit there and sign a 3-year deal that only $18 million was guaranteed when he knows, and he talked about it again, he knows what the 2 cap numbers are going to be? Why would I take a deal during the bye week for less than what you could tag me for 2 years in a row?
Exactly.
That's not misreading the market. That's representing your client and say, hey, listen, you're not even getting fair market value in regards to the salary cap in reference to the tag. That's the problem.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, let's run through these. Jones getting signed over. Barkley is like sitting at work watching the worst employee get employee of the month. I don't know if it's that bad. Cool Dude says, what does he say? Joe Shane overpaid Jones so he could continue to add pieces to the roster. Tagging him with a handcuff to salary cap. Was this smart or short-sighted? Here's my thing. He's not wrong, because if you would have given the $32 million to Daniel Jones, and you would have given him that as a guaranteed money, yes, you are going to hamstring the Giants salary cap. But everyone tells me, Rob, we're in the middle of a rebuild.
What the fuck? We're not in the fucking rebuild, bro.
But that's it. That's the why he did it. Thank you. That's exactly why he did it. Because he tells you he's in a rebuild. He'll make statements like he's in a rebuild. But Joe Schoen understands I am only as good as my current season. Not my people always say I'm only as good as I was last year. No, you're only good as you are now.
Yeah.
So if the Giants go out and didn't say bring Daniel Jones back or did something and they go 1-5, Joe Schoen's already on the hot seat.
Yeah.
People are all about 9-7-1 in the playoffs.
Yeah, you're not rebuilding when you pay your quarterback $40 million, guys.
You're not rebuilding at all.
I'm sorry, but you're not. Now people could probably turn around and be like, oh, well, what about the Rams? Like they're paying Matthew Stafford. The Rams just won a Super Bowl and they cut all of these people, and the quarterback is left over. Like that's different. Like they didn't invest in Matthew Stafford this year, knowing that they were going to be in a rebuild. Like, I'm sorry, but the rebuild is out the window the second you pay your quarterback.
Jones $40 million over.
Second, not even just Daniel Jones, anybody. Yeah. When you invest and I'm not anybody, I mean just anybody, any quarterback. When you are like right now, if the Tennessee Titans gave Ryan Tannehill a new contract at $40 million a year, they are not rebuilding. They are not rebuilding. If the Bears, if Justin Fields' contract was up and the Bears gave Justin Fields, which we could agree that the Bears are rebuilding, if they paid Justin Fields $40 million, they are no longer rebuilding. They are competing. They are competing because you pay your quarterback because you believe they are the bridge gap between you making or missing the playoffs, between you making or not making a deep run into the postseason and competing for a championship. So when you pay that quarterback, no matter who it is, your starting quarterback, your rebuild is done. It is over with. It is over with. Period.
And J-Fed said people, and we just talked about this. People forget the Giants offered Saquon a contract extension during the bye week. He turned it down. We just talked about why would you turn it? Why would you keep the money? Big Don says, well, Jeans didn't draft DJ either. They also did, but they're hooking. They're putting the horse on there. We need this. We need the need for speed. I don't know where that sound effect is. I won't, but I'll have to find that later. We got OG Knockout also in the room saying, what's up, Tim? I am late to the party. We also have Manny says, with the veteran minimum of any of the contracts guaranteed at all, the veteran minimum contracts are not guaranteed. They're basically a week-to-week contract. They're not, it's not.
Yeah, they can cut them at any time.
They can cut them at any time.
And there's no dead cap to it.
There's no dead cap number. So it's basically, I call that a week. It's like a weekly contract. Let's see here. Madden itself makes no sense. Chris says these questions about the comparison between Barkley and Jones make me want to rip my ears off. That's what we're going to stop talking about. T-Brad says hit the like button. We have 102 people in the room already. 53 likes. We should have like 80 likes. Well,
hit the like button, people.
We have to do the math. 102, 51, 53 likes. Carry the 4. I don't know what that is. Let's see. Mr. Smith says, did you see the quote from McKinney saying that he spoke to Saquon and no one in the locker room is mad at it? I saw that quote and I believe that 100% because I don't think, everyone wants to get paid.
Yeah, because McKinney just did an interview. Didn't he not just do an interview or something like that?
He supports Barkley because his contract's coming up next year. He's going to be in the same situation. And the problem,
I think he's got Rock Nation too, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah. Here's the biggest problem though. If let's say Barkley plays on the tag, and let's say Barkley and McKinney both ball out, who do you tag in 2024?
100% you tag Barkley.
So you potentially aren't going to pay you're going to have to potentially pay for your safety.
Listen, I tried telling people this, man. Like, listen, buckle up because like you paid your quarterback, you're going to start losing people.
It's going to get interesting.
Like, I hate when fucking people say, "Oh, people are blaming Daniel Jones." Barkley didn't get signed because of Daniel Jones. No, I'm not deliberately saying like Daniel Jones is the reason why Barkley isn't signed. but it does impact it. Like anybody, if you're gonna sit there on social media on Twitter and be like, it's not Jones's fault that Barkley didn't get his deal. Well, yeah, it fucking is, because Jones got paid, right? He got paid, which limits your cash flow.
We're gonna end this real easy and real quick. Here's the thing. Remove the name Daniel Jones. Let's say he's player X, and you give him $40 million over 4, 88 of it guaranteed over the first year. It's going to affect your cap.
Correct.
It doesn't matter what the name is attached to it. So nobody's sitting there bashing Daniel Jones for getting paid, because as a professional athlete, just like in your own life, you want to get paid. But it doesn't matter. You just take the name away, you look at the contract. And that's what you go off of, not the name attached to the contract and how it's going to affect the cap. Because to Rob's point, you give anyone $40 million of your cap, which is I think 17 or 18.9% of your entire cap space. It's going to affect the cap.
It is. It's going to affect what you're able to do and whatnot, and like how you go about it. So I'm not saying that's the only reason, right? Because correct, Barkley could have said yes, to any one of those deals, right? He could have said yes to it, but they were probably under what his value that he had for himself, and as far as what the tag is. So yeah, it does affect it. So I don't agree with these people that say that Jones didn't cost him, or didn't affect Barkley's contract negotiations. He most certainly did. And now you're running into a situation next year where I thought motivating factor is, okay, do you want to have two premier players potentially in Barkley and, like you just mentioned, McKinney, not under contract next year, and you have to choose between one of these two players, and if they both ball out, they are 100% going to choose Barkley to tag, 100%. And now you got to try to sign McKinney, and he could go anywhere at this point.
I forgot there's another guy coming up in 2 years.
Azeez Al-Jawari.
No.
There's another guy coming up in 2 years.
Another guy coming up in 2 years. He plays left tackle.
Oh, Andrew Thomas. You're right.
Forgot about that. Tyrone says the only thing that makes the things is collusion by the ownership. Fans aren't paying attention to what's going on. Running back market parroting the narrative that makes no sense. Best player means nothing. I mean, it's not like baseball collusion, but I don't think it's collusion. I think it's the fact that it's a changing of the game. The game shifts every 10 years or so. Sometimes you're a run-centric league, and then you go to a passing league, then you're a defensive league, and it really depends. I don't really think it's collusion. I don't see collusion. I mean, I don't think the owners are sitting there going, okay, we need to just sit here and we just got to make sure we don't pay anyone.
Because we're all evil.
No, it's not that. They're not collusion.
I don't know if you heard though in that interview what the guy that was hosting the podcast, he made, and I'm probably going to misquote him here, but he was talking about a tag, and he's like, if these beer companies decided that they were going to go ahead and tag whatever, and nobody's going to stop, at that point, they're trying to to collude, they're trying to force things on there. Nobody's going to stop drinking beer and getting drunk. Right. So it's you're trying to control, the cost of, as far as what people are talking about. And then he brought up I think he brought up American Express and these things where they're their annual fees or something like that went up at the same time. So it's and they even asked he asked Barkley, is do you think that these owners talk about how much you pay this player, or, what would you pay this player, or whatever the case would be? I believe 100% that those conversations happen. 100% that owners or GMs, they talk amongst one another, hey, you've got this player. What do you value this player at? What would you pay this player? And then they go and they do their thing. 100%.
Big Nick's dropping in the super chat for this Philadelphia Children's Hospital and the kids. He also says, until you just said about Beasley and the other guy they just signed, I ever thought about that. At this point, it's clear the Giants are trying to put Barkley in his place. I agree a little bit with that. I'm going to have T-Brad come on here in a minute, but I want to make sure I run through a couple of these. Let's see, should have 102 likes. I appreciate that. We were over 100 something. What's up? Bingo Tim was his name. We got the big talk of the zoo saying Xavier McKinney is shaking considering he is self-inflicted hand injury. He's in the middle of the pack and saves him. Maybe I'm wrong, but I can't see him commanding big money. And that's what I was saying. So what if he balls out? What if he was actually playing pretty well until the hand injury? What if he turns into a Ronnie Lott? You know, what if he turns into an Earl Thomas? I mean, what happens then? And then you have Saquon Barkley again. You have the 40 million. You're on the hook, 40 million guaranteed for Daniel Jones next year, and you have you have the Dexter Lawrence contract coming on the books soon, and you have Andrew Thomas.
Yep.
So, and like I said, remove the name Jones. Just look at the dollar figure, and yes, it's going to affect your cap no matter whose name is attached to that contract.
Yep.
So I think
Dexter and Jones's contracts kick in next year.
Yeah. So I mean,
Jones kicks in this year, but his big chunk kicks in next year.
Exactly next year. McKinney. Let's see. Dash says you tag McKinney, you sign Thomas, you try to get a deal done with Barkley. I agree.
Won't happen.
I don't think that'll happen either. We're gonna be running out pretty soon, but I want to put into the chat for T Brad. T Brad, I know T Brad is a longtime friend of the show. T Brad, I put it in the chat there for you. Jump into the stream a minute because T Brad wanted to rant first. And T Brad's been following the show and been on the draft parties, and he's not only just a friend of the channel. I consider him a friend in general. So I always like to have him when he comes in and has his he philosophizes about what the Giants are doing. I know he's been battling the Facebook trolls. So I think
Facebook trolls.
That's even better because you know what, T-Brad, you couldn't find the Mindspace trolls. Because I love you. T-Brad knows I love him. Big Dash says Jonas should have talked before the Browns gave Watson that deal.
Oh, it's the Browns you're talking about, Dash.
But see,
the Browns are a clown of an organization.
But that is a good question. If you are colluding against the running back market, why wouldn't you collude against the quarterback market? Because
they did
more of your cap. But no,
they did this year with Lamar. I think that's why you had like 7 or 8 teams publicly come out and say we're not going to be pursuing Lamar Jackson.
I also think Lamar Jackson had to do with $40 million in injuries.
I don't think it really was the injuries, bro. Like he was looking. The whole thing is this Watson contract. I think was a big mistake by the Browns.
Oh, I do.
And then it was a colossal mistake. And I think they fucked the league because now you're going to have quarterbacks like Burrow, like Herbert, that are going to be looking for fully guaranteed deals because it's basically what Watson got. He got like almost his full deal guaranteed.
Giving Jones $40 million, you have to give Herbert or Burrows 60.
More than likely. $55 to $60 million, like that's what you're going to give, and you're not going to give them fully guaranteed contracts. So, like I said, that's what Watson got was almost like a fully guaranteed deal. Right. And then the rumors were that's what Lamar Jackson was looking for. So when they put the tag on Lamar and Lamar requested a trade and they put the tag on there, you had like 6 or 7 teams right off the rip after the tag was placed on him. The Falcons. All of these teams, we are not interested in pursuing. The Commanders did it. Like all of these owners went ahead and did it. And I think they were trying to push it.
Commanders did it because they were in a flux with a reference to the ownership. Commanders couldn't make a deal.
Yeah, but I think but the people that they were, but the people that they were because they were like Magic and this guy that the deal was done. Like they were already in like a part of it. They could have very easily signed off on it and be like, yeah, that's not going to affect us going after the deal.
To Anthony's point, Lamar did get 52. Let's drop in T-Brad because T-Brad wants to come in here and rant about how he's going after the people on it was Facebook.
What's up, T-Brad?
Facebook.
What's up, brother?
Facebook.
Facebook. I feel like an idiot because, they always say you entertain the clowns, you become part of the circus. And boy, did I entertained some tomfoolery this week. I don't know why. I usually don't jump in, but man, they just pulled me in with somebody had literally the stats of Tom Brady's first 5 years and the stats of Eli Manning of Daniel Jones' first 5 years. And they're like, we got to give this guy time. Like, first of all, you forget there's like a Super Bowl in there for Tom Brady in those first 5 years. But oh my, yeah, this is just ridiculous that we're having this conversation. But first of all, I'm a Giants fan. I want Daniel Jones to be good. I want the Giants to be good. I want Daniel Jones to be out there elite, like, Joe Burrows or some of these elite. I want him to be that. But like we were talking about, like brothers were talking about earlier, haven't seen it. See it for a game, maybe 2 games, but you haven't built the consistency, and that's what makes them great. So I posted something, and I said, hindsight's 2020. It was something like hindsight's 2020. Maybe we should have picked up the 5th-year option. That way we can, go ahead and secure Barkley. But I still would have franchised Daniel Jones and signed Saquon Barkley to his deal. I was called so many names. It was just ridiculous. It costs more money to franchise a quarterback. I knew that when I said it. I knew that. But where I'm coming from is we have 2 people. One who's proven, in Saquon Barkley, and one, and I know people are hoping for the potential. I get it. I'm right there with you. But you've got one who wasn't proven in Daniel Jones. And we secured the unproven part just because the position is important. Like, I think forward. So for me, I say, usually, a team goes to the playoffs. You're looking to be in the playoffs the next year, but are we that team? We don't know. So if we lose this year and we just tank it up, we're picking top 5. Are we going to be picking a quarterback or a running back? I'm pretty sure we're going to be picking the quarterback if we don't have a good season. And if we do have a good season, hey, Daniel Jones is the man. You give him his contract. But I thought we should have strung Daniel Jones out one more year. I thought that'd be in the best interest, especially if we have a bad season. But these people were just bringing up how running backs aren't any good, and we can go get Dalvin Cook. And we have an elite running back. I understand it's a passing game, but somebody who's taking up 40% of responsible for 40% of your offense, and you just do them like that. This is like the curse of Odell Beckham coming back to haunt us again. This is literally the curse of Odell Beckham. When Odell Beckham left,
it's got the Red Sox curse of the Billy Goat with the
yes. When Odell left, he was a top receiver, super talented, but he wasn't a locker room guy. He was a distraction, and he was on a boat one time on his day off of work. Oh my God. It was a whole bunch about Odell. I didn't agree. I thought he was a guy who just wanted to win and was getting pissed off because he wasn't. But
Yep, I agree with that.
That's how I took it. But, you want to keep it clear, calm. I get it. You get rid of him. Never get a receiver in this place. And that's not Daniel Jones' fault. It's just facts of what happened. So you go get Barkley. Barkley comes in, tears it up as a rookie when you had Odell. Then when you lose Odell, Barkley kind of struggled, had the sophomore slump because he didn't have Odell to take the pressure off. And Barkley's done nothing but be a leader in the locker room, stand-up guy, all of these things that they said they wanted Beckham to be, Barkley has been and getting the job done. $2 million a season should not have cost. It shouldn't have gone as far because, in my opinion, especially what I do, keeping relationships is more important than that money. Keeping a productive working relationship is better. It's better to just pay money for that. Because now what happens? Now you have a rift. What happens if Barkley says, sure, I'll sign a franchise tag? Comes in, lights it up. We play great, but he's still 40% of the offense and lighting it up. What happens when you come back to contract negotiations? Is he going to want more than he was asking for before? Probably. Or he may say, you know what? I don't think I want to be here anymore. How many times do I have to show you? I've come back off an injury. I've done this. I've done that. I don't want to be here anymore. And for me, I just don't like the disloyalty of Barkley's selfish. It's contract negotiations. It's business. On one side, it's the New York Giants at the negotiating table. The other side is Saquon Barkley and his representatives at the negotiating table. And neither side has to flinch. And Barkley's not selfish because he's trying to get more than people he does a better job than. If you have an option, if you have that option at your job to negotiate your contract, are you going to accept? Are you going to accept less than someone you know you're better than, and you can prove that you're better than? I don't think so. So to people don't understand that part of it. We're fans. We want our players to be there. I get it, but that's a human being. He's making the best business decision for him and his family and what it makes for him.
So, sort of like what we talked about with Rob and a certain other content creator. When you're and it's at a different level because it's $10 million, but you're doing what's best for you and your family at the end of the day. And what human does not do what's best for you and your family? Yeah. And everything else. I mean, what human doesn't do that or want to do that? Because you are human, you want to make money, you got to support your family. I did have to acknowledge one thing. One of the greatest posts I've seen today. The best GM the Browns ever had was Kevin Costner. That just made me smile. That made me smile at the laugh. I also want to thank Irish Over for the big old super sticker. Of course, all stickers and super chats go to the Philadelphia Children's Hospital. I mean, to your point, T. Brad, that's what it is at the end of the day. It's about securing what's for you. And someone posted a moment ago that no one ever complains when these soccer teams sign these guys these massive contracts. No one ever complains that, but they're complaining that a running back who knows his value and his worth to the team. We've talked about this before. When you know what your value is to that team, whatever the market is dictating, it doesn't matter. It's what your value is to the organization.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people are kind of my green milkshake.
Yeah. And that's why Jones got overpaid this year because he would, like you said earlier, Jones would have got picked up, but not at the number we paid him. Exactly. We were the only ones that were going to pay him this money. So we had to overspend because we had no quarterback. We
had no other option. To me, it's no different us overpaying the quarterback than a team stretching and overdrafting a quarterback. You know what I'm saying? Like if a team said, like you're moving up and you're taking a reach, and we've said it numerous amounts of time about other teams, throughout the course of history. Oh man, they reach for that guy, and then so there's no difference in that. And then a couple of things like to Mark Thompson, like when you look at who's in the chat, Mark, like when at the end of the year, Barkley equated for 40% on average of the entire at the end of the season, 40%. Like, so if you want to break it up between, the first half and the second half, the average was 40% at the end of the year. It don't freaking matter. If we started 2-5 at the end of the year, and the back end of the year, we finished with a winning record and we made the playoffs and we made the Super Bowl, are you going to give a shit about the first 7 games of the fucking season? No, you're not. You're not going to be like, oh, well, you know what? It wasn't a great year. We started 2-5. Like, you're not really going to care. It's about the end result that matters. That's the first thing. The second thing is to kind of what Big Dash said before. I don't get where everybody's saying like this bell cow bullshit. Barkley is not a bell cow running back. He is not. Now, his first year, he got 350 touches. Last year, he got 350 touches. The reason why he got that is because a quarterback is incompetent about playing at a high level on a consistent basis. That is why he got 352 touches. Now, this year, there is nothing wrong with you. I don't get why people saying the Giants should have locked up Barkley as an asset in the hopes that Jones is going to take the leap and not allow Barkley to be used in that manner. Barkley was used in that manner because Jones was incapable of being a complete quarterback and handling everything. So because of that, they resulted into running Barkley 295 times and then him getting 57 receptions and him getting 352 total touches. It is not going to be like that all the time. Barkley is a 220 to 240 rushing attempt player. He is probably a 300 touch player combined. That could be whether you want it to be, 80 receptions, 220 rushes. You want it to be 60 receptions, 240 rushes. However you want it to be, that is the type of player that he is. But when you go and you say that you can't a bell cow, he is not a bell cow. But he was used that way because they had no other choice because the quarterback was not playing consistently at a good enough level for that reason. And they leaned on him. And guess what?
First of all,
happen again this year.
First of all, we love Mark Thompson. Mark is from Barbados.
Oh, I love Mark. I just want to let Mark know.
First of all, we love
big
Mark.
up all Bayesian masters, all Bayesian masters.
Definitely love it. But to say that Jones had nothing to do with Barkley not getting his contract, I'm sorry, but that's wrong. Because again, like Tim said before, player X makes X. Player Z is going to have a little bit less money to get offered. And that's just the way that it is. That's the thing.
Money. It doesn't matter the name on the contract for player X.
It's just the money.
It's just the money. It's the value. And like I said, but the problem is player X should equal the value of the contract. And that's let's say this. We're all hoping Daniel Jones does.
Here's a prime example. Forget Barkley. And take the name out. Forget Barkley, right? What if, because next year is Andrew Thomas's 5th-year option, right? 5th-year option. What if we sign Andrew Thomas to a big-time contract, but because of that money, we can't sign Xavier McKinney? Are people going to – I guarantee you people will be like, oh, well, because we gave Andrew Thomas this deal, we can't sign McKinney. Or reverse it. Say Barkley was under contract already, and it was up to us to sign McKinney now, and Jones got his deal, and we could not sign McKinney. People would be upset about that. Let's say it's about the position.
Let's say Azeez Ojulari balls out, and we come up to the contract situation where we can't sign Azeez.
Same thing. Because him and Thomas were taken in the same draft.
He is a pass rusher. So my thing is this: he's a pass rusher, so he's going to require
money.
He's going to require more capital from the cap.
Yep.
Than the safety would. So he could get anywhere between 17 to 25 million. So the thing is this: you can only sign so many people at $40 million or $30 million or $25 million to your cap. And like I said, remove the name. Just say it's player XYZ. So you have to make these decisions. And I think the Giants are making a decision on Barkley. I think it's financially motivated to the point is they understand what's coming up over the next couple of years, and they hope that Daniel Jones turns in to someone. And even Eddie says, you can't pay everyone. That's what it is. And I don't begrudge Daniel Jones for getting paid. I would just like the value of the contract to equal the value of the player. If you're a $40 million quarterback, I want 4,000 yards, 30 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Maybe another 300 rushing, maybe another 5 rushing touchdowns, and 10 wins. If you're a $15 million quarterback, I expect what I'm good. It's one of those things you get what you pay for.
Yeah.
Tim, quick question.
Go ahead, T-Brad.
Quick question, gentlemen. And this is how I do the debate with Daniel Jones and Barkley and importance to the team. And again, not mad that Jones got his money, but I thought we should have franchised him because of what could possibly happen. But if you're a defensive coordinator playing against the New York Giants offense, who are you keying on? You keying on stopping that run, or are you keying on stopping that pass?
Paris Campbell. Barkley. That's what I'm going to key on. Bright Ford Wheaton.
Yeah, wait.
That's what I'm keying on.
To see if they can run the ball. Maybe now without Barkley there, you could switch it up.
Big Dash. Dash, I love you, bro. Just based off of his play last year and how they used Daniel Jones, minus the health, Tyrod Taylor could have taken us to the playoffs last year, playing the exact same football that Daniel Jones played last year.
Tyrod Taylor took the Bills to the playoffs.
So I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but you could take Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones contributed to us making the postseason last year. Yeah, he is not the reason why we made the postseason last year.
But that's and I think that's what people understand. I'm not saying Daniel Jones was not a contributor to the team last year. I'm not saying that, but like I said, I can name 5 games last year that we would not have won without Saquon Barkley.
And
Yeah,
and
with
Dash,
Daniel Jones out, we had Jake Fromm. like,
yeah, like
no,
come
no,
on.
we didn't. We all knew all 11 people knew where the ball was going.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
But the thing is, like Jake Fromm, Jake Fromm isn't a runner, and I think like that's the thing. Like they used Barkley. I'm sorry, they used Jones, like and his legs. Tyrod has legs, like he can run. Now he's not as big or as thick as Daniel Jones is, and the knock on Tyrod is that he's injury prone. Like he came out, got knocked out at his first game, but like when Dash talks about, I've watched the offense move without Barkley. What, one fucking drive against Green Bay in London? Like that he had one drive. Like Barkley was always on the field for the most of the part. It was that one drive in London where he wasn't on the field and we went 90 yards. Like what Jones did last year. And again, Jones needs to do more this year. But what I saw from Jones last year, I've seen Tyrod Taylor do in the past. Like you're talking about competent, like 3 reads. Any quarterback can go through 3 read progressions. The only difference is not every quarterback can run the football. Now Jones can run. Tyrod can run. Like, I'm sorry, but that's just facts. Like Barkley, if Barkley's not on this team last year, we don't make the playoffs.
First of all, Big Dash, Daniel Jones panty boys, that's me. First of all, I saw OG knockout. I've been saying Daniel Jones panty boys for a while, and it's a derogatory comment. I'm not gonna lie, but it's also just a funny comment. It's just like King of the Almost Sack. It's nothing personal. On that note, I'm gonna have to close it out, guys, because I do have to get out of here. And but I will be at training camp on Sunday. I will potentially be at training camp on Thursday. I haven't talked to Rob yet, but I think I'm gonna have, if Rob is available, I think I'm gonna have him run the stream. And I'll call in and do the show from training camp on Sunday. I want to thank T-Brad for jumping in. I want to thank everyone that comes into the chat. We got training camp already, guys. It's already
crazy.
here.
Let's go, Giants.
That are saying it. And at the end of the day, you know, we are at the end of the day, we're all Giant fans. And that's it. And we've talked about this before, and I'm gonna pontificate for half a second. There is no need for name calling because you have a difference of an opinion. There's no need for you going after someone personally because you have a difference of an opinion. It's a freaking sport. It's not life. You know, it's fun to root for the team. It's fun to, go out there and be competitive. That's fun. But at the end of the day, when people start attacking other people that are fans of the same team and telling them you don't do this and you're not this or you're not this, because it's a sport. And I think maybe in my 50 plus years, I have figured that out, a lot sooner than other people have. But at the end of the day, you're still a fan of the team. At the end of the day, you still want them to win. But at the end of the day, we're all people. We're all human beings. We all have feelings. We all have emotions. We all have things going on in our lives that some people don't know about. But to pontificate and go after people personally or anything else over a sport, you're a fucking idiot. And I'm not saying that to be mean. I'm not saying that to be rude. I'm saying that to be honest. You want to talk about being a giant. You want to talk about one family because we're all Giant fans. Well, I hate to break the news to you. We're all part of the human race. So we're all part of the same family, unless you're a freaking alien. Unless you're from Pluto, just respect people.
Yeah.
You have a difference of opinion. You see someone in the parking lot at the Giant game. We're still all humans at the end of the day. You go up and you say hello, you hang out, you have a good time. Because you know what? You know what the funniest thing is, Rob and T-Bird? I've said this before. I have been told so many times that I'm an asshole for doing this. And what do I say and do this?
I mean, you are.
Well, I know that. That's just a fucking given. But I meet people at the games and I hang out with them and I talk to them. And then people come up to me and say, you're really a nice guy. Yeah. Because you're looking at me having a persona on the thing, but actually the way I am on the show is the way I am in real life. This is just me. It's like Rod Tidwell. Yeah. This is the ABCs of me. This is just me. And at the end of the day, I'm still going to be, I'm respectful to people in person. You're respectful to me. You're nice to me. I'm nice to you. You go the opposite. You get the thunder.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we're all just Giant fans. We're all just having fun. We're all just having a good time. And I know, Big Dash, I'm not even talking about you. I love Big Dash. It's all good time. It's all fun. There's no hard.
But even like right now, like I disagreed with what Big Dash said. Right. I didn't make it personal with Dash. I didn't attack Dash. And stuff like that. Yeah, me and Dash.
Big Dash, I follow Big Dash too.
Yeah, like
That's
I
guy
mean,
says knows Big Dad knows New York Giants football. Yeah, I follow him too.
100%.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And Big Dash is my boy, and he'll tell you we'll be in spaces and we get at it in spaces, but at the end of the day, it's all love, like
Right.
it's all friendship. Like that's my brother right there. Like
And the same
you
thing
know,
with
so
Mark Thompson. You know what? It's nothing. At the end of the day, if Mark Thompson disagrees with me or anyone disagrees with me, you're all idiots. But because you're disagreeing with me, but that's just my opinion. I still love everybody. I love everybody. I love
100%.
everybody. I love everyone unless you give me a reason not to.
Yeah, it's the people when you have this opinion, right? And and it's a different opinion, and then if the team is successful and Jones is playing well and we're winning games and we go deep into the playoffs, they're like, no, stay on that side. Stay on that side. Don't be here. Stay on that side. Stay on that hating side. We got no room here. It's
Right.
like the same way you love the Giants and you believe, I love the Giants too. I just believe something different. I want to be proven. Like there's no, you're like, listen, you're not just going to go on a job and want to become a manager and automatically just going to get the job. You got to prove that you can do everything else to become the manager, right?
Sure.
That's what I want to see. You want to see it on a consistent basis. There's nothing wrong with that. Hell, it's like that in relationships. Oh, you cheated on me? You think you can change? Let me see you change. And then I'll believe that you can change. And you got to prove it, right? It's the same thing in life, man. It's like I just don't get it.
Yeah, you said it best earlier, man, when you were talking about Eli, because before Eli won that Super Bowl, it was a lot being said. It was like, man, is Eli really the guy we thought we got? Dude, and he won out Super Bowl, and after that, it was like, okay, he's fine. And it'll be the same thing for Daniel Jones if he pulled, like, no one's rooting for Daniel Jones to not do good.
We're not saying we want Daniel Jones to fail. We just don't think he's
Right.
going to.
We're just not as confident as you are in his ability. That's it.
Yeah, 100%.
That's really it.
On that note, I'm going to have to end this. I'm already getting the 2-minute warning from the wife because I did promise her a lot of things too. James Williams also says, we're living in a world, if you disagree with someone, you're just a jerk. I don't know why that is. And like I said, and Dash, I know Dash. Dash and I go back and forth all the time. I go back and forth authentic all the time. I respect them. I love both of them. But like I said, I can have a different of opinion, and everyone can have a different opinion. At the end of the day, we're all Giants fans. And at the end of the day, 1, 2, 3, we're going to close this stream out because you know what? We just need to. This is Tim. This is T-Brad. This is R0B. Hoping seeing everyone at training camp on Thursday and Sunday. And you know what, guys? We're out of here.